onto the Ballon d'Or shortlist then.
Shall we talk about the goalkeeper one, the under-21 one, and then the actual main one?
Yeah. So the goalkeeper one, I've said my piece on this on Twitter. This is the worst.
Yeah, I think it's very ludicrous, and I think Liam Huff will be very happy that we think this way as well.
So I tweeted about it before. I don't understand how you've made a 10-person shortlist for who you attribute to be the best goalkeeper in the world and don't have the best goalkeeper in the world in the list. Alisson is unquestionably the best goalkeeper for me in world football. And I think it's absolutely shocking. How on earth have you got... And especially, it's not even like we're saying, I think he's the best, but he had an off year. He was brilliant last season.
Yeah, he was still good.
He started this season well. In that Newcastle game, obviously, they ended up going on and winning it, and he made a great save in it when they were up against it.
The people that have made this have looked at the league table. They must have. Liverpool finished, 5th? Yeah, they did. Yeah. And obviously, because Aaron Ramsdale and Arsenal had a good season, they've put him in there. If you looked at the performances, don't get me wrong, Ramsdale had a good season, I admit. Okay,
yeah, I'm not being good on the whole.
Yeah, I'm not being a killjoy, but I understand Onana and Edison. They was in the final and they did great. Like Onana probably played man of the match in that game.
Yeah, he was one of the things that I think most people go away from that game. Apart from City fans, most people go away from that game and will remember.
Yeah, I think so too. But like you say, to have Alisson nowhere near it is ludicrous, really. As much as I hate to say it, he's a brilliant goalkeeper.
Yeah, his passing ability is brilliant. I think there's some people that would argue that Edison's is slightly better, but I think Alisson's all-round game is better. He's a better goalkeeper.
One-on-one, I think he's great as well.
Yeah, see, he's a much better goalkeeper in my opinion. I might upset some City fans here. I don't really rate Edison as highly as some people do. I think he's still decent, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking it.
Yeah.
But I don't even think it's close between him and Alisson.
I know another one as well. I know you don't like Martinez, for Aston Villa.
I don't know how he snuck in that list.
I do, because in that World Cup he was vital.
But I just think
they don't win it without him, mate. He's got such a big personality in that goal on penalties as well.
He's such a shithouse. I said it before. People might enjoy this maybe. If I could punch someone in the face with no repercussions, someone in this fictional world that I'm creating, if I could pick any person in this world to punch in the face, I'm picking him. I absolutely hate the bloke.
Everyone in the world, you're picking him.
Yeah,
judge
me all you want, but I'm absolutely straight slobber knocker straight to the nose.
Well, I just think for his World Cup alone, I think it was fantastic, and I think he's done it for Argentina before as well. Edison and Onana speak for themselves, don't they? They got in the final, but
there's a few in there I don't even.
Who would you actually pick for it though?
Out of the list they've got,
yeah. I think
it's a difficult one.
No, don't get me wrong. Like, I think Alisson should be in the list, but I still don't think he wins it.
My favourite out of that list is ter Stegen. I think he's very underrated. I say underrated, and he's in this shortlist. But I think people don't speak enough on him how good he is.
They won the league, right?
Barca.
Yeah.
Fuck knows. But I don't have a clue. Can't remember.
Do our research again.
I remember that they conceded a very low tally of goals.
Yeah, they were great, weren't they?
But yeah, I'm pretty sure they must have won the league.
Yeah, I think they did. I'm going to go with it.
Courtois, obviously, the season before had that.
Oh, fantastic, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah. But I think I don't know if he's just in it on merit now. Because of how good he's been over the years. I don't know how good he was last season. I couldn't really comment on it.
It'd have to be out of Edison and Onana for me. I think Edison gets overlooked because City have that much possession and they're in control of the game that much. It's very hard to judge Edison, and I think it's unfair on him, really.
I think he in recent times has had some better performances than what I would expect from him.
We know a City fan that doesn't really rate him that well, don't we?
I don't rate him either.
Do you know?
I think
we need to see more of him. Maybe put him in our squad. You might see him more.
I think his passing ability is fantastic, but I think as a shot stopper, honestly, I think he stinks. I think he's absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
He's got howler in him all the time, and I don't think it ever really gets exposed. Or if it gets exposed because he'll let a clanger in, but other teams don't often take advantage of it because City will still win the game. And I have seen him pull off some good saves, and I've seen him perform better than expected. I thought he was okay I thought he was pretty good in the Champions League final. I think he was still the second best goalkeeper on the pitch that day. But where some people rank him, I just don't think it's quite deserved. I don't really. I think if
United won the treble last season and we had Ederson in net, I think we'd like to think that Ederson would get it.
Yeah, it's fair, I suppose. But yeah, personally, he's not my pick. But based on what he's won, it would be feasible.
I'd say, because out of the list, the top three would probably be Martinez, Onana, and Ederson. So I'd to win that, I'd go Ederson, just purely what he's won.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking about it like that. No. I was picking my favourite.
Yeah. Who was your favourite?
Ter Stegen's my favourite from what I've seen when I watch him. He's my favourite. Okay. I think he's one where he is just brilliant all round. I think it's a shame that we haven't seen him in the Premier League.
No, and I think that hinders my take on him as well. I don't really see him as much.
Yeah, maybe that's why I'm being a bit critical of Ederson as well, because I see an awful lot of him. Onana's a weird one because the most I've seen from him before joining United was that Champions League final, and he was decent.
That's another reason, actually. If Ter Stegen was City's goalkeeper, would they still win? And the answer to that is yes, really, isn't it?
I think there's a lot of them that can do that role there.
Yeah.
I think you have to be able to play.
I think if Onana was in it, you'd probably say...
But some of them can't pass as well as he can. He is brilliant.
Ederson?
Yeah. His passing range.
He gets assists, doesn't he? I'm not going to say every season, but I've definitely remembered some assists. Shall we have our say on the under 21?
Yeah, I've got the list here.
Do you want to just quickly say the names? Or?
Yeah, so the list goes Jude Bellingham, Camavinga, Gavi, Pedri, Alejandro Balde, Jamal Musiala, Rasmus Højlund, Xavi Simons, Antonio Silva, and I don't know how to say this last one, Elye Wahi.
Why is Højlund there?
Must have had a pretty good season. I mean, I know he's been doing well in those qualifiers.
Yeah, he got 6 and 6, I think. But maybe I'm just a bit confused at that.
To be fair, there's a lot of inclusions there that I have not seen an awful lot of. Like, I've seen handfuls of a few of these players. So I'd have to pick sort of biased on the ones I've seen the most. It might not be the best take, but I think Camavinga for me.
From what I saw in the Champions League last season, I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah,
especially playing a left back role as well.
Yeah, he's very versatile. Obviously, there's going to be a bit of recency bias for people listening to this and looking at the list because of how Bellingham has started the season has been electric. But obviously, you got to bear in mind when they take into consideration the time period.
Yeah, but I also think Bellingham smashes it in that sense because he carried.
Yeah, he still was brilliant, but then he still didn't win the league last year. But yeah, I won't pretend to know an awful lot about a lot of these players. I know that they're good, that they're great players, but I don't watch an awful lot of the other leagues.
No, the only chance we get to see them is maybe if the El Clasico's on or Champions League
Champions League, because they're not televised, and if they are, it might be clashing with the Prem games and stuff. So I won't try and speak on something that I don't understand.
So you would have picked Camavinga, would you?
He's just my favourite from the list, and I'd know that he's obviously brilliant.
I really do rate him, yeah. But I'd pick Bellingham because I just think he's a superstar.
Xavi Simons, I know.
He's apparently obviously like next big thing as well, and he's Simmons.
I feel like he's been around for a while, but has he just been like a hyped up wonder kid for a long time? I don't know.
Musiala's gone a bit quiet for me, but
yeah, I think he looked really good when we played Germany.
Yeah.
And then he looked good in the Champions League when I saw him last year.
It doesn't help that Germany are pretty bad now, but maybe it does because he could have the attitude of, I'm going to make us be great again.
Yeah, get himself up there.
Yeah.
So on to the main list then. There's a lot of these to go through. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter talking about no Marcus Rashford.
I think it's a bit bad that Rashford doesn't make the list. Obviously, he's
never going to win it.
Never going to win it.
But he deserves to be. When you look at that list, I don't know how he doesn't get in there.
It's a bit like the Alisson one. He needs to be on the list. But
he won. He won one trophy last year.
Final of the other.
Yeah, he had his best ever season, and in like Europe's top 5 leagues. He was right up there for a portion of the season.
Mm.
So I don't know how you then don't end up in a list amongst some other people. Like, despite how I know, like, he's a goalkeeper and stuff, but you've got a handful of Arsenal players there. They won nothing last year, and I know that they perform well. I think they deserve a shout. I think Saka and Odegaard's
a fantastic player, but does he really need to? Does he really?
I think, like I say, it's fair. I'm not arguing with it massively, but I just think, how can they be in it when it seems to, in the past, people, I think everybody has this view of the Ballon d'Or where it's like it's supposed to be the best player in the world, but it obviously matters if you've won trophies. Did you know? Not all of them played for City last year, but City have got 7 players in that list.
I think if you win a treble, you go into.
But that is crazy to me. I don't know.
I do agree with Rodri being there. I think he was a big game player last season.
I think Rodri is probably the best, if not, he's definitely one of the best. But I think you could argue he's the best in that position in world football.
Yeah,
certainly at the minute, obviously, because he won it all last year as well. So you can't really even argue.
And he was the scorer of the goal in the final, wasn't he? So
yeah, it's also the first time in 20 years that Ronaldo's not been on that list at all.
Yeah.
Which you can't really argue with.
I don't think Messi and Ronaldo get on that list after this one. I think this is the last one they have.
Do you think Messi should win it?
I do.
Is that on... This is where I was saying
because you want a good send-off, is it?
No, is it? Do you think... So a lot of people I've seen people argue before that if it's the best player in the world, that he should win it the majority of the time because he is the best player in the world. But then there's got to be some merit to when you're playing at a very high level and you've won more trophies and things like that and blah, blah, blah. Sure, it's just riding on the World Cup, that, surely. Yeah. That's the only thing that's propelling him forward.
He didn't have... I saw, to be fair, I did watch a video and it was some guy doing a proper analysis of Messi's season, like under Poch and as PSG in like total that season. And he actually played really well and he was vital to what they did. But what it was is because he wasn't the main man, the goals and assists that he would have got for Barca because he was the main man, he's not really getting at PSG. But in terms of chances created and like some of his passes that he pulls off, like they're absolutely worldy passes, but he doesn't get noticed as much for that because it's not the goals and assists that we've been used to him doing for so many years.
See, I wouldn't argue at all that he isn't the best player on that list. But if you're Erling Haaland, what more did you need to do last year to win the Ballon d'Or?
I agree with that.
Because he's won 3 trophies last year, matching only one club's ever done that in the Premier League before, and we know who they are. And it's his first season in the league. He's won it all. He's scored probably more goals than anyone else in world football last year. So by no means am I saying that I think Erling Haaland's better than Lionel Messi as a footballer, which is what some people in principle would say I'm saying if I think he should win the Ballon d'Or. But I don't understand how he can't win the Ballon d'Or. When, to me, it's got to be a City player. Because they won.
How many times have we heard commentators and pundits say, yeah, but we've got to give him time to adapt. Haaland's come in, first season, absolutely played everyone out of the park.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people said, he's going to be lethal. Like, we're going to see City scoring so many more goals because they've had those prior seasons without a number 9. Then they bring in a number 9. So you could foresee that he would have really hit the ground running, but I refuse to believe that anyone thinks he was going to score as many goals as he did.
No, I didn't actually. Do you know the Rory opinion that went viral?
Yeah.
I wasn't too far off from Rory's opinion. Honestly, I actually thought I was at bowling with Bran and Matt.
Yeah.
And we just went for a game and we was talking about it. It was when it first got announced that Haaland came to City. And I actually said to him, I was like, he has to adapt to Pep's way of playing. And we had the Grealish situation where he came and he didn't play for so long because he had to adapt to the way he's playing. I thought it was going to be the same as Haaland. But
Pep does that to a lot of players. He brings them in and they don't really get as much football as you'd think in that first season.
And Dortmund don't play the way City do. So in terms of thinking Haaland wouldn't do as great as he did, is not actually that bad.
It wasn't an outrageous shout, but it looks like an outrageous shout based on
now it does, yeah.
But I think I think he should win it for this year. I think that they'll give it to Messi because they love to give it to Messi.
And I do think it shouldn't play the part, but because, let's be honest, it's going to be the last time Messi and Ronaldo are up there.
Well, he can't be in that list next year. If he's playing in the MLS, how can he be nominated for the Ballon d'Or next year? You can't.
If he is, it's bad.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
But I think, for me, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, if you're any of those City players, if you're Rodri, if you're Kevin De Bruyne, if you're Erling Haaland, you'd be looking at it and going, well, I've done it. That is the best season I've ever had at club level. Erling Haaland, obviously, the sky's the limit. He could even do more than that. And so they could still do more than that. But they'll be looking at that saying, that's the most we've achieved in 1 year. And it's more than anybody else achieved in European football last season. And they're not going to go on and win it. So to me, if it's going to go off merit like it has in the past, that like they look at the outstanding performers that have won the majority of trophies available to them. Obviously, Haaland wasn't even at the World Cup.
No.
But
imagine if he was.
They've got that. For me, they have to give it to him, but I do think it'll be Messi that gets it inevitably.
It's probably my bias towards Messi because he's the best player I've ever seen. And I do agree, like, say, if I put myself in Haaland's shoes, I'd be furious if I didn't win it.
Yeah, it's like he is scoring goals. Are a lot of them unbelievable? No. They're great. He's a typical striker.
Yeah, but everyone goes, oh yeah, you put any striker in that City team and I'll get you 25 goals. But we've seen strikers in the past, they haven't had a season like Haaland's done. So even if they are tap-ins, he's got to get there.
Look at Alvarez last year. He won the World Cup and all those trophies for City.
True.
You'd be looking at it going, well, if it's trophies, I want it then because I've won a lot. But obviously, we know that
I don't think Alvarez will ever get spoken about like that.
He wasn't
as long as he's second.
He wasn't the focal point for any of those teams. Like he did well, and when he was called upon, he delivered.
To be fair, this season he's playing behind Haaland, isn't he? He's playing as a centre-attacking mid. It might be wrong. It might be two strikers, but
I think he's made the case to Guardiola. Like, how can you leave me out?
Yeah,
like you're gonna have to find a way to play us both.
Hats off to him because he's come from which league did he come from again? Was it the Argentine?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and hats off to him. He's performed well. Don't get me wrong. I think it's very easy, not easy, but more adaptable to come into a Pep team that's dominating the Premier League.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's still got to do the job. He's doing it.
Say if you're giving it off, this is what I don't understand how they do it. If you're giving it off merit and like so what people have won,
then you would say Haaland.
It's got to be, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But
I think because Messi's been chasing that World Cup all his career and he's finally won it.
It's like, well, he's won the World Cup, so he don't need the Ballon d'Or. Do you know what I mean? Like, leave it out.
Yeah.